Hey everybody, how's it going? Great to see you. Thanks for coming out today. It's a not so beautiful day here in Atlanta, Georgia, but this is it's Wednesday, March the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. All right, so I'm just going to throw this out there right now. Make sure that you are typing to panelists and attendees if you're joining us on Zoom. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube live right now, I will see your comments if you put them in there. The first person to tell me why orange is the color for some on St. Patrick's Day, I got a $100 gift certificate for you in the Flipping America Academy. First person who tells me. All right. So think about that for a minute. And I got another $100 gift certificate for somebody who could tell me this. I was thinking about the pledge, and I'm going to do the Flipping America pledge in just a minute. But I was thinking about the pledge a little while ago, and I thought of an old TV show, and it was a man's club, like a Moose Lodge thing. And they would put their hands over their heart and they would say, I am a man, but I can improve. That was their full pledge. All right. The first person to put in the comments the name of that show is going to get a $100 gift certificate in the Flipping America Academy. Any course you like, you can take $100 off. And also, who could tell me the significance of orange on St. Patrick's Day? And are you wearing any green? I have green in my socks. I'm not going to show you, but it's there. All right. So it's time for the pledge, and I've done a little something different for you this week for the pledge. So everybody put your hand on your heart, get ready to say the pledge.
When I look in the mirror, I see the reason, the credit for my successes, the blame for my failures. I cannot make it without my team, and I tell them often. But when they succeed, it's because I chose well and I led well. When they fail, it's because I did not choose or lead well. I am the reason. I may have setbacks, but I cannot fail if I don't ever give up. You got circumstances. I got circumstances. We all got circumstances, but you won't find me undermined. My situation will not dictate my emotion. My circumstances will not control my results. External forces will not take away my power to choose. I cannot change the world, but I can change me and the way I relate to it. So I charge on. I am the reason. I have a massive vision, which creates massive pressure, leading to massive action, which is the only chance I have to achieve massive results. The world doesn't owe me success. God doesn't owe me success. No one is going to work for my success. Therefore, no one will work harder for their success than I will for mine. I will give my all and then a bit more. So tomorrow, my all will be more.
All right, everybody. So far, I just want to say to the people who have entered, thank you for playing, but we don't have a right answer yet in the chat on either. Close, but no cigars for any of you there yet. But we'll keep watching and monitoring as we go along. And anyway, so the pledge, I turned it into a little bit of a video. And if you would be interested in doing a group video on that with me, let me know. All right. I appreciate that, because I'm thinking about doing a different kind of recording where we have like 50 or 100 people saying the pledge, and at the end we all come in together. I don't really know how to put together that video, but we'll do it if you're interested. I want to sync it up and do it. Okay, time for a few announcements here. Let me get rid of that. All right. Today, we're going to talk about Storage Nerds. Stacy's in the green room. She's ready to go, and I'm going to get to you, Stacy, just as quick as we can, as soon as we roll through these announcements. Next Wednesday, now, why did I got this out of order? But next Wednesday is Don DeRosa is going to join us, and we're going to talk about the latest tech in real estate investing. And we're also going to talk a little bit about how to think about adapting new tech and, maybe not be on the bleeding edge, but be somewhere close to the leading edge. This is tomorrow night, and I got him out of order. Sorry about that. But tomorrow night at 7:30, Bob Bloom is joining me. He's an attorney in Texas, and we're going to talk about asset protection and estate planning. because if you're, following our advice, if you listen to Stacy today and you start building up your wealth and your network, your possessions and all of this, you're going to want to find a way to protect it. And Bob has one of the most common sense approaches. Now, I've talked to a lot of really great people on this topic over the years, and we had some guys last year that I'm still using their stuff, but I like Bob as well, and I always want to learn more, and his approach is a little bit different, and so I'm really excited about tomorrow night to talk with him and learn even more about protecting assets. It's not really a new thing, but it might be new to some of you. If you have one of these devices, you can just lean over and say, Alexa, play the podcast Flipping America. And the last episode we've released will be out there. This is Flipping America, and it's several things now. It is the Coast to Coast broadcast 3 times a week, 1 hour each time, and we are up to show number 462 now. After the show airs nationally, it becomes a podcast. It's available on all the platforms. We also have our own app. You can download the app for free, no in-app charge, no upsell, no cost to it ever. You can listen to 462 hours of real estate education, information, and inspiration. Then we have the Flipping America RIA, launched last year. Now 30 chapters nationwide with over 10,000 members. Actually, it was 10,000. We went over 10,200 today. And that's pretty exciting, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're a part of it. The Flipping America Academy is a series of online courses and training for real estate investors, not all taught by me. I'm talking to educators around the country, and I've been trying to get Stacy. I sent Stacy an email about this, but I think Stacy got lost in your email somewhere, because I think she has a course on storage nerds, on mini storage, and I want to see if we can put it in the academy and make it available to you. I'm not an expert on everything, but I know a few things really well, and I'm willing to share those things with you. But I also have the distinct honor of meeting a lot of really cool, talented, and informed people in this business. And they have courses, and I would love to bring them to you, and that's what we're trying to do through the Academy. Then we have the Buyers Club, which is a done-for-you service where you're investing basically in cash flow by buying inexpensive houses around the country and seller financing them as is. No rehabs, no renters, no tenants, no termites, no toilets. There is a little bit of hassle, but not as much as owning rental properties. And then the trading platform, we got pushed back another couple of weeks, so now we're talking mid-April, but it's coming. The fan is coming, and when it gets here, it's going to be a game changer for wholesalers and buyers of investment properties, fix and flip buyers. The feedback from the user folks group we just went through was great on the parts that worked, but some of the parts got broken, and we got to fix. Some of the parts were not as intuitive as we had hoped, but we're working on it. We'll have it out there, and we will release it when it's ready for primetime consumption. All right, time for Storage Nerds. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch right over here. Stacy Rossetti is with us. Stacy, how you doing? Is your mic on?
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, great. Good to see you.
I know. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in so long.
Yeah, well, you're the one traveling all over the country last year in your financial freedom thing. I was following you on Facebook.
Point, right?
I saw the post, and I know that you didn't name your daughter after my grandmother, but every time I see her, I think about my grandmother, and that's really nice.
That's good. That's awesome. I love the name Lillian. Isn't it a beautiful name?
Yes, it is. It is. And I loved my grandmother. I still love my grandmother. She's been gone now for 22 years, and but still. So when I would look at you guys traveling all over the country, and I would think, yeah, there's Lillian, my grandmother's namesake. And boy, what a path you have come in this business. I mean, I watched you sign up for the training and become a fix and flip investor, and look at you now. You're a nationally known hero, and you've got you've got the world of self-storage. That's your thing now. Tell us a little bit about how that transfer happened.
Well, you're right. I was, first I started out 10 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing. You saw me sign up and become a student, and I got into rehabbing, did a lot of rehabs, that. And then I got pregnant. That's what happened. And then after that, everything changed.
But even from the very beginning, Stacy, you have a management ability you brought to this. You were in management. If I remember, it was like windmills.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, before I started in the real estate investing world, I was developing wind farms. That's what I
Yes.
was
And
doing.
so, as soon as you started that group down the south side of Atlanta, and I used to live, well, it wasn't that close, but close enough on the south side. I drove over there, and I always admired your ability to put together a group of people wherever you went, and it's just testament to your management ability and the things you had going on. I still remember one other conversation. You and I had a conversation about a
Uh-oh.
mutual sort of friend of ours, an acquaintance of ours, who said that you didn't have any business being a coach. I don't know if you remember that conversation. I just think about that.
I'm sure there's a lot of people that think that.
Yeah. Well, I've been
I'll
told
leave
that a
it on
time or
my
two also.
collection.
But I think about that, and I think about where you are now and what she's doing now, and I think, wow, how could you be more wrong? So congrats to you. Kudos to you. The South Atlanta RIA Group is blowing and going, and you've got another thing now, sort of competing with the Flipping America RIA, but I don't care. Um,
No, I believe in abundance.
me too.
There's
That's
enough going around.
I
Yeah.
don't care. Yeah, that's all right. Let's all go out there and reach as many people as we can and do as much good in the world as we can. So you got pregnant, and that interfered with your fixing and flipping, I guess.
So I was doing, when I got pregnant, I was doing 15 rehabs at the same time. You know this world.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then in my mind, and I also had 15 houses in the pipeline. So it was my life when I got pregnant. Okay.
Yeah.
And in my mind, as like a woman that was about to become like this mother, I was like, there is no way. There's no way. There's no way I can handle all these houses and take care of this little baby. And all I wanted to do was really just stay home with Lillian and just take care of her, which is like the reason why I had gotten into real estate investing in the first place, is so I could have, the freedom. But the truth of the matter is like all those rehabs was just consuming my life. And so as soon as I got pregnant, I stopped buying. And I told my realtor, and I have one realtor that I've been using for 10 years now. And I told my realtor, I was like, I'm not buying any more rehabs. I want passive income, because up until that point, I hadn't done anything with passive. I had a couple of rentals that had kind of come across my plate, but like hadn't really focused on it. I was like, I want passive income, And so he went out and started looking, and we did. We looked at portfolios of houses. I was like, okay, maybe I'll just roll all this money over that I have into a portfolio. We looked at like multifamily, and this is back, when nobody wanted to get into multifamily. Like multifamily was like not on the radar, right?
Yeah.
So there's like all these really good deals, but they all needed like huge major rehabs.
Let me say this about multifamily. The people that were doing it were not interested in teaching others how to do it.
Exactly. Back in the day. Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's like the storage industry as well too. I mean, nobody's teaching really how to get into the storage investing world. And but I started looking at all these things, and luckily my realtor came across a storage facility, and it was like 15, 20 minutes from my house. It's in Fayetteville, Georgia, my first one that I ever bought. And we had lived in Peachtree City at that time. You know what I'm saying? So it was like right around the corner. And so I was like, yeah, let me go take a look at it. And when I pulled up to that facility, it was like a dream come true for me, because it was like the dumpiest, ugliest storage facility that you can imagine. Right. And as a rehabber, when I look at dumpy, ugly facilities, essentially, I'm like, that's like where my heart starts to go pitter patter. Right. And so I pulled up, and when I pulled up to that facility, there was like probably 200 tires sitting right in front of the facility. And I just knew when I pulled up to that facility that this was going to be like the perfect facility for me to buy. And so that's what I did. As I started, and I can go through that process, however you want to talk about it today, but I decided to buy that facility, not knowing anything about investing in self-storage. And then the journey just kind of grew from there.
Yeah.
That's how I got started.
Let's do this. We're getting up to, I was trying to adjust that on my end, but I didn't want to hit a wrong button and actually cut you off. So, we're going to go, we're going to hear a word from our sponsor in just a moment. But when we come back, we're going to take a lot of questions from you guys. And look, if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube right now, just put your comments in the or questions in the comments. I will see them here and I will relay them on to Stacy. And if you're in the Zoom call, just use the Q&A tab, please. And I know that you're going to have a ton of questions, especially when we start getting into the particulars on this. But Stacy is here. I know her heart. And she's here and she will help you. And but before we take this quick break, do you have a course? Are we going to talk about a course? Because I want to take it, actually.
Yes, we're going to have a course. And I got you. I can get you a link, so it's not a big deal. But, or how we're going to work that out. But like, essentially, it's called Super Simple Self-Storage. Is what it's
All right.
called. And that's like, and we'll get you a link and you can share that with everybody.
Everybody be thinking about what you want to ask Stacy. When we come back, we're going to continue the story on this first one and kind of look in the numbers, and I'm sure we'll have a bunch of questions there. All right? Everybody stay tuned. American IRA, thank you so much for your partnership with us. And here's a word from them.
When you choose American IRA as your self-directed IRA administrator versus the other guys, you're choosing a path that will save you money without sacrificing expertise or performance. Because unlike the other guys, we do not work on a sliding scale of fees. We offer one low set annual administration fee. Let's take a closer look. As your assets grow with American IRA, your annual fee remains the same. The other guys base their fees on the number of assets you own or the value of your account. So over the life of your self-directed IRA, your annual fees will continue to increase year after year. What does this mean for you? When you work with us, you will have more money to put towards the important things in your life, like retirement. We know that there are already enough places your money has to go, from your state and local government to the IRS. Don't let your self-directed IRA administrator take more from you than they should. So with American IRA, no matter how your assets grow over the life of your investment, you'll pay one low set annual fee, putting you in total control of your financial future. Choosing American IRA means you're choosing expertise, value, and performance.
Oh, okay. All right. Hey, we're back. Talking to Jake over there. All right. So you signed the papers, and this is something that I love. You didn't really know everything about what you were doing, but you went into it. This is what I teach in my Get Ready, investing courses. I tell people, and all of you on this call, if you've ever heard me, you've heard me say, make offers before you're ready. You won't feel ready. You're never going to know everything. Just get out there. So what happened?
Well, I went to go look at this thing too. Like I had a gut instinct that it was a good deal. And, and so it's kind of like I just went with my gut, really, because I had no idea about investing in self-storage. Now, a residential investing and commercial investing, now I can tell you it's like totally opposite things. All right. So you can't I've done a couple of houses and then I can get into commercial. I had no idea what I was doing. Luckily, it turned out to be a very, very good deal. But the truth of the matter is you really have to learn how to do commercial deal analysis. I mean, and when you get into this world, if you want to be a storage nerd, essentially, I call myself a storage nerd, you got to learn the lingo. Right. So in this group, and the thing is, think about it. There's 50,000 storage facilities in the United States. Okay. So that means that there's 1,000 storage facilities in each state.
Roughly.
Okay. And 20% of them are owned by REITs, funds and REITs, CubeSmart and Public Storage and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And then, so that means that between 700 and 800 facilities within the state are owned by people like me, mom and pop. We call those mom and pops, right? Mom and pop shops. And actually most of those, I would say most storage facility owners probably own two, right? One, half of them own one, and then the other half own two or more. So if you wanted to get a list of all storage facility owners in each state, you're going to get a very small list, and these owners, most of these owners, I would say half of them are probably 60, 70, 80 years old, right? They're just and they started this thing back in 1980, 1990. And, and they're just tired of them. They're just tired of it. They don't want to do it, right? So like after 20 years, you just notice that all of a sudden, like the owners are like, this thing is paid off. It's free and clear. I don't care how much money I make. If I make a couple grand a month, I'm happy, right? And every single storage facility that I've ever bought is essentially like this, okay? So when I drove up to that one in Fayetteville, I had no idea about that at the time, but now I've learned over time that there are many, many storage facilities out there like that one. There's actually 5 different ways for you to invest in self-storage. One of them is mismanaged properties, which is what I buy. Okay. And then there's income producing property. So mismanaged properties is where you can get them for like 25 to 50 cents on the dollar. And the reason why is because they don't have a P&L. They don't have a balance sheet. They don't have tax returns that they can give to you so that you can go out and get a loan. Right, that's a mismanaged property. And most of the time you're going to have to come out of pocket just to get that thing up and running, properly. All right. And a bank is not going to lend this to you. So you either have to have cash to purchase this, or you have to be able to get cash somehow in order to buy this thing. All right. Whereas the income producing property, like they're going to be all like, yeah, I got a P&L. Yeah, I got a balance sheet. Yeah, I got my tax returns. Why? Because they want to sell that facility for the most money that they can possibly get. Right. And the reason why is because in the commercial real estate investing world, everything is income, it's based on income.
Right.
Right. So whatever you can show as income is what they're going to value the property at. Now, a little bit about how it looks, very small, but the truth of the matter is like how much money did you spend and what are you producing in order to run and manage that facility? And so those are the two most popular. You can always build new, right, as well too, and then you can develop and do conversions, and you can also wholesale storage facilities, which a lot of people on here may be interested in. But you have to learn how to run commercial deal analysis.
Okay,
if you want to talk about wholesaling.
So,
but those are the 5 ways.
Okay, a couple of questions, and I think you've kind of touched on this already a little bit. Valuation. How do you value a storage facility? It's not exactly like you can find comps within a few miles.
No, it's income produced, and it's based on your cap rate, right? Okay. And it's based on the cap rate that your facility is creating, right? Based on their income versus the cap rate in the market.
Right.
Right.
Just like apartments.
Just like apartments. It's just this is a commercial multifamily, except for in multifamily, you talk about doors, right? Whereas in the storage investing world, you talk about square feet.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. So I'm asking my acquisitions person, what's the total square footage? Right. When I'm calculating out my deal analysis, we want to know what the average price per square foot is.
So you're looking for a net income per square foot.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Per square foot is what we're looking at. And so you want to learn the lingo. It is not a storage unit. We don't buy storage units. Storage units is like Storage Wars, right? It's like Trash and Treasure and stuff like that, right? So we're buying storage facilities, and we want to know what the cap rate is. We want to know what, the cash on cash return is, the ROI. We want to know what the net operating income is. And we want to know, did I say cap rate? Well, anyways, what I'm talking about. Commercial deal analysis is what we want to know. And square footage.
Okay. All right.
That's really how you run deal analysis on it. And storage facilities are considered warehouses. It's industrial. It's zoned industrial, and it's considered a warehouse.
So you're not concerning yourself with occupancy rate as much as just your income per square foot.
Well, we do concern ourselves with occupancy rate, but we look at mostly vacancy versus occupancy. How vacant is it versus, so what's the economic occupancy? Yes, we do look at that.
Yeah. I would say another big difference between this and apartments is in the expense ratio, because your expenses to operate this are going to be a lot lower as a percentage than apartments.
Well, so we do run our expenses based off of 30%. Like if you want to do a quick analysis, essentially 30%. We'll just take 30%.
That's a lot lower.
30%. Yeah. But the truth of the matter is that if you're owning one of these or two of these, it's not a lot of expenses. But what I always tell my students is like, you can't base your numbers off of what the seller's expenses are. You have to know what like your expenses are going to be. And, once you get into owning like a couple hundred plus, I mean, you're going to have like overhead and things like this as well too. So that's why we get into 30 to 35% when we run our numbers for expenses. But these little tiny rinky dink ones that are, 100 units or 50 to 150 units, not a lot of expenses. Not a lot of expenses.
Would you rather buy a performing or a non-performing storage facility?
I'm non-performing all the way.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a rehabber at heart. Now, when I say rehabbing storage facilities, I say train your tenants, right? So getting the old tenants out and getting new tenants in. That's basically what storage investing, managing your properties properly is about, is getting good tenants in that pay on the first of the month, number one. And then number two is you need to be virtual and electronic. So we have not met any of our tenants in years. In fact, the first year we went completely virtual and electronic, and we haven't met any of our tenants since.
Cool. Do you have somebody on site managing it?
So we are vertically integrated, and the way that we work is because we have around, I think 800 to 900 doors. I'm not 100% sure. Okay. And then what we do is we have an office manager that manages, like the office, like, answering the calls from 8 to 5, answering the calls, handling the tenants if they need any questions or move-ins or move-outs. But the truth of the matter is that they just go online and reserve their spot. That's how we do it. So it's all just like, it's web-based is what it is.
Yeah.
And then we have boots on the ground people for our facilities, depending on where they're at, because we're all over Georgia. And then we'll just have like a boots on the ground person go once a week and check on those.
Okay. I may be getting into your secret sauce a little bit, but what percentage of these that you buy include an element of owner financing?
So we do have several that are owner financed. Yes. So this is something that I love about the storage investing world as well too, is like the owners, for some reason, especially when you get up, in the 60s and 70s and 80s, like they just understand that they don't want to be paying capital gains. They just know this, right? And they're open to owner financing. They're open to this. So that's one of the first things I ask. I just talked to a guy on the phone yesterday. He's got 6 acres. He's got 165 units. And then he like just mishmashes like his property around and like does like all kinds of stuff. He makes a lot of money, but he has no idea how much money he makes. And so I was like, basically it's a mismanaged property. Okay. He has no, like, he can't give, he said it's cash most of the time and he just pockets all that money. I mean, and this is he wants $800,000 for this thing. And I told him, I said, nobody's going to give me $800,000 like to go buy this thing when you can't show me any numbers or anything for this. So really the only way that you're going to be able to sell this is to owner finance it to me. And he had actually put it on the MLS and nobody picked it up. He put it out there to sell and nobody could pick it up because essentially he wanted $800,000 and like nobody can come up with $800,000. I mean, very few people can do that. You know what I'm saying? And so I told him, I said, look, I can come up with some money, but you need to owner finance some of that money to me. And he said, yeah, he said I could do that. And so that's kind of what we're working out right now is how to do that. But a lot of owners are very open to doing that as well, especially when you get into like the bigger facilities as well too. Say, look, if it's a mismanaged facility, why don't we work out something where like you maybe get a cut on the back end or you finance it to me.
All right. Oh yeah, I like that. Okay. So if you guys have questions for Stacy, put them in the Q&A and they're starting to flow. Our good buddy Wilson Flemster is here.
Hey, Wilson.
Yeah. And he's got a couple questions for you. Yeah. So what is a good price per square foot and what is a good cap rate for storage facilities?
There's no like good price per square foot. There's no good cap rate. So essentially the way cap rate works is there's primary, secondary, and tertiary markets. Okay. And this is how it is in the storage investing world, essentially. And the primary market, depending on where you are in the world, right, you're going to have a primary, secondary, and tertiary market. And so let's just say that we're in Nashville, Tennessee. Okay. So Nashville, Tennessee, obviously is a primary market. So it's going to be around 5 to 7% cap rate for us in the storage investing world. And as you go out into the secondary markets of Nashville, into the burbs, or even further out, because, the bigger metropolitan areas kind of have, bigger secondary markets, then you're going to get to like an 8 or a 9% cap rate. Okay. And then as you get out into the tertiary markets, it's going to be a 10 plus cap rate. So the question is where are you looking? Right? Because if you don't, you have to figure out where you're going to be looking for these things. Number one. And then number two, the other question is, how much money can you bring to the table? All right. Depending on how much money you can come up with, either your own money or partnering with somebody else or going to a bank and getting a loan or SBA or whatever you're going to do, then once you figure out how much money you can actually find that you can borrow and utilize, then you can fine tune where you should be looking for your facilities, right? So downtown Nashville, facilities are millions and millions of dollars. Well, if you want to buy something like that, then you have to be able to put 20% down, and you have to find somebody to bring that 20% to the table, or you have to bring it to yourself, right? So the question I always tell my students, like, how much money can you come up with? If you can come up with 20% down, how much is that? And then that can help you to figure out where you should be focusing.
In a related kind of question, this is sort of my personal orientation. One of my themes is compare everything with everything. What I want to know is, what is a typical return on cash annualized you can expect out of this?
It's just, let's just say it depends on
let's say you have a good deal in a secondary market. You bought a mom and pop thing up in Rome, say. I don't know if you did, but and so you've got it stabilized and it's producing income. What should you expect in a situation like that for a return on cash? I know you may not get it at the beginning.
You should be in the 20% range. Honestly.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, so you should be in the 20%.
It's range. A 20% range, and it's a long-term hold, and you can depreciate these properties on a schedule, right?
Oh, and you could do cost segregation. There's all kinds of stuff you could do.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of stuff. Yeah. You can even buy it in an opportunity zone if you want to do that.
Yeah. So I hope you guys are seeing my eyes light up, and but because I'm always looking. I compare everything with everything in terms of the return on cash. What am I actually really going to get? I don't care about cap rates. I don't care about interest rates. I don't care about
how much money you're going to make.
Yeah, I care about.
You should be in the 20% range.
Okay, I always care about what I'm going to get for every dollar I personally put into it. So that's kind of how I look at it, Wilson.
And that's why I love mismanaged facilities, honestly, because you buy those. You may buy those a little bit more expensive than what they're worth on the front end. But at the back end, I'm getting 20, 30% return on my money for those things.
Yeah, it's a value add play.
Doubling my value.
Right. For the same reason we buy distressed other properties. Wilson says, so what's a good price per square foot and what's good? Okay, I think we already did that one. Yeah. How are you determining the price per square foot and cap rate as well? How do you determine these? I think the cap rate is what it is.
You need to learn how to run commercial deal analysis. But what I do is I got my handy dandy phone right here, and I have a cap rate calculator right on my phone. And all you need really to do a quick analysis. Okay, this is not I'm going to decide on this whether or not I'm going to buy the thing. But you need the purchase price, you need your vacancy rate, you need your total income, and you need your expenses. And expenses, if you don't have that, you just take 30% of your total income. Yeah. Plug those numbers in, and it'll come up with the cap rate. And then you look at where it's located. Is it a primary, secondary, or tertiary market? And depending on where it's at within your state or area that you're at, you can determine whether or not it's a good deal or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And that's
cap rate is, for everybody, cap rate is calculated as net operating income divided by your acquisition. Your purchase price. So, but the number she just gave you help you get to your net operating income. And
that's why I like using the cap rate calculator, because essentially it'll give you that formula in the end. But who wants to sit there and try to figure that formula out? Just put it in the calculator. I know.
I do it in my head all the time.
Only Roger does.
Yeah. Not only me, but all right. Armin wants to know, where do you find the market cap rates?
Where do I find the market cap
Yeah.
rates?
How do you find
so
out what
you'll
the
have-
going rate is?
Yeah, so that's what I said. That's your market cap rate is exactly what I just told you. Where is it located? So if you're in Rome, Georgia.
But if you know
right?
something is a 7, how do you know it's a 7? Do you talk to other brokers or
I mean, well, I personally don't talk to other brokers.
go to that
but,
super secret website that says here's the cap rates for storage?
I mean, it's all you need to look at like what things are selling for, what storage facilities in your area are selling for, right? So you can talk to brokers, and you can go on to Crexi, LoopNet. I don't recommend buying off of there because it's super duper expensive most of the time from these like websites.
Yeah.
But like I said, also get to know the sold storage facilities in your area and ask maybe a commercial broker to give you a list. Like, hey, can I just get a list of all the facilities in the area that were sold in the last, year, so I could just take a look and see like what the average, door rate is or what the cap rate is or whatever.
So there's a principle I would like for all of you to glean from this, whether you end up in storage facilities or not. Something to keep in mind is one of our overriding principles of real estate investing is buy distressed properties that are undervalued where you have an opportunity to add value. You heard Stacy say that. That's true in single family. It's true in apartments. It's true in multifamily. I've done it with industrial space. I've done it with office buildings, whatever it is. And by the way, I bought an office building off of LoopNet, but that was the exception that proves the rule though. Okay. Yeah. So just keep that in mind. That's one of your principles for today. Roxana wants to know what state government offices would be able to give a list of all the storage facilities. I didn't know there would be one.
I mean, I guess you could just go I'm not sure, honestly, because I've never done that. Where would they go for that, Roger? I just go to a list broker and I pay for the list. I mean, I don't know if you could go to maybe you could go to, I'm not sure who would give that out in the state or county. You can't go to a county area because essentially in that county just may be, a handful of storage facilities.
All right. Well, answer me this, Miss Storage Nerd. Do storage facilities have their own federal tax classification? When you're doing your LLC for it?
Yes, they do. And don't ask me what it is. I know what
no, it doesn't.
NCIS. No, you're talking about the NCIS number.
Yes.
Yes. Actually, one of my students is doing it this way. As I remember right now.
I was just thinking you can do a statewide search for all of the people that have filed with one of those numbers, that category.
Yes, exactly. I remember I have one student, that's what they do, but it's very time consuming. She hired a VA to do that.
Of course.
Yeah. So, but you can do that. Just figure out what the NCIS number is and then get in there in the list and look through that. That's good. Thank you, Roger.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm here to help. All right. Fent says, hey, great training. What are some strategies? And thank you, Stacy. That's to you. What are some strategies do you use to find non-performing or mismanaged facilities? That gets to one of the questions I was going to ask. How do you find these suckers? Driving for dollars? And you already talked about list.
Yeah. Okay, so essentially, this is how it works. This is my secret sauce. I'm going to share it with y'all.
All right.
All right. So you have to talk to the owners directly. All right. This is how you have to buy these things, unless you have like a bazillion dollars. Okay, then you can go to a broker. If you can come up with like enough money to buy a $2+ million facility, then go to a broker, and that's how they do it, right? But if you're like me and you're a little person and you want to get the smaller facilities, then what you want to do is guess what? Actually, y'all tell me. If you're going to find a storage facility, what are you going to do to find a storage facility near you? What are you going to do? Put it into the chat. Because the way that you are going to find those storage facilities is exactly the way that you're going to find the storage facilities that you're going to buy. All right. Any guesses? What do you do to find a storage facility?
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. Wilson said, Google it. Tim said, this is awesome, but he has to run. All right. See you, Tim. Nina has won a $100. Okay, hold on. Wait a minute. I got a thing over here. Nina won the $100 gift certificate because she correctly identified that the color orange represents Protestantism in Ireland. It's not all, green is for Catholics and orange is for Protestants. And so that's great. So Nina wins that. I haven't.
Well, Wilson was right, is Googling it.
Yeah.
Right. And actually Google Maps is becoming the largest search engine, right?
Yes.
Yes, right?
It's better
Right?
than Google itself.
Exactly. So you need to go onto your phone, and I want you to type in storage near me and tell me how many storage facilities come up in your area.
But don't do
Now,
it from Google on your browser. Do it
no, do
in
Google
Google
Maps.
Maps. It's so
Yes.
much better. Yes.
Now, okay, so when you go and look on Google Maps to find anything that you're looking to find, right? Whatever restaurants or storage facilities or whatever it is, okay? The only way for you to get onto Google Maps, there's only one way to get onto Google Maps, and that's to follow Google's process going through Google Business Listings,
Yes.
right? You have to go onto Google Business Listings, and then you fill out your profile, and they send you a postcard in the mail. Okay. And that postcard has your secret code on it. You go back into Google listings, you put that into there, and then you have access to fill out the rest of your profile so that you can get onto Google Business Listings. That's the process. Okay. Well, guess what?
I can guess.
80% of all storage facility owners don't even have a mailbox. They don't even have a mailbox.
Yeah.
So when you go onto Google Maps and look for storage facilities, the ones that you find are the ones that went through that process. And I'm guaranteeing you, most of the owners don't do that. It's an office manager that does that for them. All right. But what I'm telling you is that when you look at the map and see those storage facilities, the same amount of storage facilities are in that same area. They're just not on Google Maps.
Right.
Right.
Google is not that easy. They're not that easy to work with if you want to get listed that way. And so a lot of people give up during the process. And I was just going to suggest that I bet there's a lot of them that are not listed.
Well, I mean, especially if you're 60, 70, 80 years old, you ain't going to figure all that out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Right? Every single storage facility I've ever bought has never had a mailbox at their facility, and they are never on Google listings, and most likely don't even have a website. So you could go onto Google listings as well, too, and pull up storage facilities in whatever area that you want to be in and look to see if they even have a website. Because the truth of the matter is even if they figured out how to get on Google listings, they may not even have a website. They're just on Google listings. All right.
All right.
And those there's like different levels of like leads, right? That's how you look at it. That's my secret sauce.
This is so good. Can you hang on for a minute? We need to bring in Chip and talk a little bit about Bay Mountain Capital because they're also sponsoring us today. And let me just stay right where you are, Stacy. I'm going to bring in Chip and put him right next to you. Hopefully, if I hit the button right, there he is.
Hey.
Hey, Chip.
Hi,
Hey,
Chip.
Roger.
Hey, good
Stacey.
to see you, man.
How are you?
All right. Tell a story about Bay Mountain.
All right, we'll do. So happy St. Patrick's Day. I didn't know about the orange, Roger, because I would have been wearing orange. You know that's my favorite color.
Well, you have the Tennessee handicap. I understand. Yeah.
All right. So I want to tell you about a property we closed on a couple of weeks ago here in Atlanta. It's over near Lakewood. And the purchase price was $295,000. His rehab budget came to just under $89,000. And by the way, you know this, Roger, but maybe some of the listeners don't. One of the things that Bay Mountain does is a feasibility study that we pay for. And the feasibility study is basically to make sure that the rehab budget is good for this particular property. So the person that goes in is like a home inspector. He is looking, number one, to see if everything's on there, if there's something that needs to be done that they didn't put on their rehab budget. And then the second thing they're looking for is, are the amounts that they have on there close enough? As a great example, sometimes somebody will put a low labor amount because they're going to do the work. Well, what happens if they can't do the work? We need the number to be the real number. We don't want the sweat equity number. All right. Anyway, continuing on, just under $89,000. So his total costs were $383,414. And we were able to loan 98.9% of that because his appraisal came in at $545,000 and we can lend up to 70% of the appraisal. So he was just under the 100%. All right.
So what did he come out of pocket on it?
So if he sells it for $545,000 and we subtract all the costs that he has, he's going to make somewhere between $120,000 and $130,000, depending on how long he holds it.
Awesome. And then he should run right out and buy a self-storage facility.
There you go. There you go.
Don't get a new Mercedes with that.
So that's how somebody gets almost 100% loan in this case, but we do 100% loan when it's under 70% of the ARV.
All right. Chip, thank you so much. And thank you, Bay Mountain Capital. And we appreciate you. And he's bouncing back and forth between this interview frame and also onto the Zoom call. And so have you already put your information in the Zoom chat?
I did. I put it in there, plus all the terms.
Okay. All right. If y'all want more information, just make sure you look back through the chat. And thank you, Chip. We appreciate you, man.
All right. Bye, Stacy. See you, Roger.
See you, man.
Oh, hey, one more thing, Roger, before I go.
Yeah.
I had told you I wasn't going to be here today. I'm supposed to be on vacation. I'm supposed to be skiing right now in Montana.
All right. I forgot about that. But yeah, what happened?
But my oldest daughter got COVID, so we couldn't go.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. My younger daughter is still suffering from COVID. She got it at Christmas time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah.
All right. See ya. Bye.
Bye, man. See ya. Okay. So we're back.
Yes.
Now, we got a question from Roxana. Where do you find the NCIS number again?
Google it.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get the whole list of NCIS numbers when you search for it. And if there is that particular number. Now, I just had this idea, Roxana. I've not done this, but I would imagine you can go somewhere on the Secretary of State's corporations page and find all the registrations that use that number. I'm guessing, because I know that the services that, where we buy the list do that. And then there are list marketing companies out there, and Stacy alluded to one that she uses, and there are some. And I think you could probably find lists of these. But somebody else also said in the chat, driving for dollars. And I remember seeing on Facebook. I don't really stalk you on Facebook, but I do follow you. But I saw on Facebook one day you posted you were up driving in the North Georgia mountains and you came across one and you ended up buying it. I don't think it was wrong.
Anywhere we go, we're always driving for storage. We were just in Maine for a couple of months, and we drove around there, looked around. I mean, we drove the country all last year. We were looking for storage. So wherever we go, we're always looking for storage. Now, if I come across something that I don't want personally, like if I found something in Maine or whatever, then I would just wholesale that, is what I would do. And you could totally wholesale self-storage. And the truth is that if you're one of those people that's like, man, I really want to get into self-storage, but I have no money, and I just can't understand the concept of like finding money right now, because, sometimes when you're new, you're just like, I don't know if I can do that.
Yeah.
I would definitely look into wholesaling self-storage. You just have to learn now how to do the deal analysis for that. And there is not enough wholesalers that wholesale self-storage in the world right now, because there's a lot of buyers and there's not a lot of people. And everybody is just going to the MLS and Crexi and LoopNet and all this kind of stuff. So if you went out there and actually started talking to sellers and building that rapport and connecting with them, you would totally be able to wholesale self-storage easily.
So I have a couple more questions for you. After you have these non-performing ones up and stabilized, can you then go refinance and take out your cash partners?
That's exactly what we're doing right now. So you don't want to hold on to those for a while, but the truth is that you're probably going to hold on to them for at least 3 to 5 years, because it's going to take you like a year just to get that thing up and running. Most likely, to get it up and running and to start, getting tenants coming in. A lot of these ones that I buy, I mean, like they're full of people's crap and they're not getting paid. Right. So essentially we got to come in and clean all that out. And that takes time to empty.
Have a big auction.
We have one that we just bought. The owner, he thought he had 105 units. We closed on 105, and then we started getting in there. We found out we had 115 units, and he had this thing for 40 years. He had no idea how many units he had, and then like essentially half of the bins are full and nobody's paying. So, and then half of them you can't even open the doors because they're just stuffed full of people's stuff. So what we do is we had to go through the auction process. And that's one of the things, if you do get into self-storage investing, you have to learn your auction process for your state and how it works. And we're going through that process right now on that one. We closed on January, and that auction actually ends on this Saturday. And then we'll be able to clean all those out. Now, if you have 50 units that are full of other people's junk, that ain't easy to clean out. That's not easy. All right. And what will happen is, like, maybe we'll sell a couple of those, but a lot of that stuff is just going to be left behind because people are just people, you know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of work to get that cleaned up. So it'll take you like 6 months to get that. It's going to take us 6 months to get that thing really up and running. And then it's going to take us another year just to get that thing turning a profit. And banks, like if you want to go out and refi that, they want like 2 years of you showing profit is what they want. So it could take 3 to 5 years for you to be able to refi that out. So you have to make sure when you're running your numbers that you're calculating that, because when you borrow at a higher interest rate, you need to just make sure you have enough spread for that.
All right. Well, that kind of brings me to my next and last question. The last question I have is, how much of your personal time is involved when you're stabilizing? And once you've got it stabilized, how much time do you spend with each one of these properties each week?
Well, the first one that we bought, I mean, we were there all the time. We had no idea what we were doing. So we were there like trying to get stuff done. But, you know, the second one got easier. The third one, I mean, we bought 2 this year so far. And by the time, like, we have those things up and running in 30 days, honestly, 60 days at the most.
But you're working full time on it during that 30-day period?
No. And so then, like, and we also, like, we have a boots on the ground person that really kind of manages that. But it's not a lot of work. I think we go down and check on our facilities maybe once a month. And that's it. That's it, once a month. And we have 8 facilities. And we have like 800, around 800, I don't know how many units or whatever.
Yeah.
And we're once a month at these facilities, and that's it.
So we were just making fun of an owner that didn't know how many units he had, and you're 800 and something.
I know, that's true. That is so true.
But that's okay. You don't have to tell us, even if you know, because that's kind of like asking a farmer how many cows he owns. That's like asking how much money do you have.
We're buying. Our goal is to buy as many storage facilities as possible. I mean, we've got it down now. You know me. Like back in the day with the rehabs, I was like, bam, 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 cookie cutter. Let's get this done.
Process system.
Same thing with storage facilities. Same thing.
And that's the last question that I have for you. Tell us where we have to go. I'm going to type it into the chat, actually. The website, where we need to go to take this course.
Well, StacyRossetti.com, you can always check me out, but I'll definitely give you a link as well, too, so you can put that for everybody if you want.
All right, so we may be able to make a special offer to our listeners and friends?
Yes, we'll give you a special offer, exactly.
All right, you're going to have Amir send that to me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or who?
Somebody.
Yeah, somebody. Yeah.
Somebody on your team will talk to me, and I would like to say somebody on my team, but right now it's going to be me.
Somebody will talk to you, I promise. We'll get it done. Right.
So StacyRossetti.com, and I spelled it StacyRossetti.
2 S's, 2 T's. It's right here.
Oh, there's 2 S's.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's right there on your thing. Yeah. Okay, y'all, let's look at her name there and do that.com, and don't ignore what I put in the chat. How's Pete doing, by the way?
He's awesome. Lillian's awesome. We're leaving tomorrow for Orlando, and we're surprising Lillian. She turns 4 on Easter. She turns 5 on Easter.
I was going to
say,
we're
leaving tomorrow for Orlando, and we're going to do a whole month in Orlando.
A whole month?
Yeah.
Well,
that's the kind of vacations we take.
In a whole month, you should be able to ride all of the Disney rides.
We're doing everything. We're going to do it all. And go to the beach, and we're staying in a resort, and we're just like, that's how we do it.
Right.
That's what happens when you get into storage investing.
Hey, I know that Stacy can't see the chat on Zoom, but the way we applaud to thank our guests is put 7s, and I want you all to fill up the chat right now with 7s, and I will hit the applause button over here when I see the 7s. They're already starting to come. Oh, lots of them. Yeah, you're really being deeply appreciated by all the people that are here. And there's a good group here, and it's one 7 after another. I mean, some people are putting 57s. So thank you, Stacy. We appreciate you so much. You don't have to run anywhere. You could stay right here, but we're going to go to the next little feature of the Flipping America show today, and that is my latest property pairings video. Hang on, everybody, for about 5 minutes. Here we go. And back to the harsh reality of the big city. We've got construction going on, people milling about. Pretty soon there will be a fire truck going by. I am sure of it. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at this property, and I'm showing you pictures over my shoulder here of this property in Opelika, Alabama. I don't think I've ever seen a manufactured home that has his and her master bathrooms, but this house has them. And you can see some pictures of them here as we're going through, and some little before and after. This property was purchased for right around $52,000 to $53,000, about $20,000 spent on the rehab, and went on the market for $120,000. And the investors tell me that the phone is ringing off the hook, probably be under contract within a week. That's exciting. That's not really a home run, but it's a good solid single. It's a pretty sweet deal. And if you could do one or two of these every month, then you would be all right. You'd be on your way to kind of paying your bills and making your way forward in this business. Am I right? Okay, so now we got to think about what goes with a sweet deal in Alabama. Just happen to have just the thing. Right over here in my humidor, I have just something that evokes the countryside, because we're out in the country a little bit. This is a Kentucky fire cured, that's easy for me to say, a Kentucky fire cured cigar made by Drew Estate. And it's one of the more interesting cigars I've ever tried. When you smell it, it actually smells like wood smoke. And that's funny to me, to have a cigar that smells like smoke. But it doesn't smell like cigar smoke. It smells like the smoke that you smoke when you're smoking meat. And so that's a good thing for me. But also it has kind of a sweet taste to it. All right, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the tasting notes to it as I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here. All right. And clean it up a little bit. Get it ready. Now, somebody asked me, several people asked me about the cut that I used last time. This is a V cut. I like the V cut. But now we've got to match this with a whiskey. So here we have, I did some research and came up with this. This is Clyde May's Alabama-style whiskey. What is Alabama-style whiskey? Well, Alabama-style whiskey is basically, it starts as bourbon, and then they run it through a couple of other processes, which they don't really say a whole lot about.
Clyde May lived outside the law. He was a moonshiner by trade and craftsman and by heart. Using a hand-built copper still, fresh Alabama spring water, and the finest local grains, he vowed to make the best darn whiskey Alabama ever tasted. What is Alabama-style whiskey? It's Clyde's proprietary process that makes this 4-year-old American whiskey unusually smooth. Clyde May's whiskey starts with a nose full of green apples and peach, met with a creamy, straight bourbon wood spice that smooths to a lingering finish of fresh orchard fruits and spice. Raise the glass to a genuine iconoclast and an American hero. All right, so we'll see. We'll see if we can find the green apple. I'm still waiting for a taste of dill. That was last time. All right, so we pour this in here. Little air work its way into that thing. Put that over there. Get the cigar going here. And this is the correct way to light a cigar, in case you're wondering. If you puff on them, you tend to burn the wrapper, and you don't want to taste burnt wrapper. Now, this is this cigar is also called a Fat Molly, the genuine Kentucky fire-cured cigars. I have to say it's very interesting. It's as interesting as his and hers master bathrooms in a manufactured home in Opelika. And then here's Alabama-style whiskey. I detect notes of caramel, green apple, and Opelika. That's it. You got a property you want me to pair with a perfect whiskey and cigar? Send it to propertypairings@flippingamerica.net. I will match it up perfectly. Guaranteed, or double your money back. It's free. Propertypairings@flippingamerica.net. See you soon.
All right, that was just for fun, and I always enjoy doing those. I want to say thanks again to all of you for spending time with us today. Thank you, Stacy, for joining us and for the brilliant insight. And that property pairing video is available separately on YouTube. Please go over there and smash the like button and subscribe and hit the bell, because we're really starting to get into making some YouTube videos now. And this video is going to stay on YouTube for a week or two. And make sure you subscribe, and we love to see you over there. All right, that's it for today. Tomorrow night, we'll be back at 7:30, and we're going to be talking about asset protection. We'll see you then. In the meantime, walk away with this.